I'm hoping to show is how you can magnify as well as research the content of a speech. And the point I make is social media magnifies the impact of a speech before, during, and after an event. So I'll be talking about what you can do beforehand, what you do during an event, and then especially what you can do after an event. And Twitter handles 1.6 billion queries per day. So that's where I like to use it. And I just did this last couple of weeks before I came here. And I said, well, look, this is under search, Twitter's search function, right? Search, you just Google search Twitter. And it says, oh, I'm looking for the word public speaking in any language near this place. I had to put England, Manchester, England, because there's a Manchester, New Hampshire, and all these places. And I was doing it from San Francisco. You probably wouldn't have to put England. I said, search. And so I highlighted Manchester, England. And there's some responses. So I don't know who these people are. Angela Jones said, according to most studies, people's number one fear is public speaking, number two is death. Louisa said, that's me at public speaking, hashtag The Apprentice. Rachel Ball said, en route to at 300 seconds Manchester event. Does this ring a bell with anybody?
No.
No, well, there's some event in Manchester for public speaking, excited and nervous. But these people are all within 25 miles of Manchester. And this is just one screen grab, there was many more. So the point is, if you're a speaker and you're traveling to Yorkshire, say, what's the town in Yorkshire? York. You're going to York.
Yeah, that normally does it.
So you could, and you're going to speak to dairy farmers, you could search for dairy farming within, or dairy, or cow, or whatever, within 20 miles of York. This book is the one I most highly recommend. It's getting on now, it's about 4 years old, but it's by Cliff Atkinson. It's on my resource page, and on your handout. It's called The Back Channel. And he says audiences are no longer sitting quietly taking notes during live presentations. Instead, they're carving out a new space in the room called the back channel, where people are online searching for resources, checking your facts. So if you say 28%, somebody's going to Google it and say, wait a minute, it says here 42%. And connecting with others inside the room and out. So inside the room and out is very relevant because in my own kind of weird way, being this Englishman transplanted to America, I've had a couple of fascinations. One of them, I've never been there, I've never even been to the town during the time they don't have it, but I'm fascinated by the Hay on Wye Literary Festival. And I followed the Hay on Wye Literary Festival on Twitter about 4 years ago. I not only followed it, this was the days when there was a tool that let you gather all the tweets together, and it sounds very sad, I don't have anything else to do. I gathered together about 14,000 tweets, I dropped them into Excel, I searched them to get rid of all the retweets, I searched them to get rid of all the tweets that didn't have links in, and then I curated on my blog, you can find it if you go and search for Hay on Wye, a list of the top 200 tweets from Hay on Wye. And I got inundated with people saying, well, you know, I'm not on this top 200 list. How come? And hey, did you see I've made the top 200 list? And it's just me. I was just making it up. I mean, it was my top 200 list. But people got... So it allowed me in California, 6,000 miles away, to follow the Hay on Wye Literary Festival. And today, of course, like...
And actually, you event jacked it as well in that respect. Because using it, you got people talking to you, didn't
Yes,
you?
I did, yeah.
So
I got traffic through... So you, again, that's a marketing technique, I suppose you would call it, where you could follow and you could tweet about, especially with, as there was in San Diego. How many of you were at the NSA in San Diego? Just you. Okay. Well, there was the NSA conference in San Diego, but were you aware that, now the timing might not have worked here because it would have been, you know, midnight or something, but they live streamed half a dozen events, and you were able to follow it from anywhere in the world. And more conferences, depends on the industry, but you can get live streaming, which then allows you to join in the conversation outside the room with Twitter. That's how you can magnify an event. We've already talked this afternoon about podcasts and video, and the purpose of the showing it again is not to show you the technique of how you make them, but once the speech has occurred, so that was before and during a talk, after a talk, and I showed you the Ted Sorensen, those of you who are here this afternoon. He spoke in Washington, D.C. the year before he passed away, 2009, February 13th, and there was about 200 people in the room. 1,100 have seen the video I filmed of him, where I was sitting like in the front row on this, on the flip camera I have, could have been an iPhone, and you know, it's not the best video, but it allowed, if I was the speaker, I could have had somebody with a camera, or asked the show. Many times the show will be videoing you. You probably want to build it into your contract ahead of accepting the speaking engagement if they will let you have the rights to that video. and then you can repurpose it and put it on your YouTube for posting to your blog or your website. Oh yeah, that's how many people watched it. So putting it all together, I showed you this earlier, I created this social media page which was recommended or suggested by Cliff Atkinson in the back channel. Some of you saw it earlier, it's been up for about 3 weeks, and it's execcoms, without a hyphen, .wikispaces.com. All the talks I've given, and I don't give a lot of speeches, I just do a couple a year, are archived with the map of how to get there, the link to the registration site, the tweets going down through the videos I showcased this afternoon, the podcasting references in one place on a social media site for both before and after the event. I leave these up forever and a day because there's no reason not to.